Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in to check out your boy, P-Funk. Thinking right out here in my lab, and I'm in the book, but I'm about to cause some ruckus because I got a lesson here that's going to be about the Egyptian yoga perspective on death and its influence on Gnostic Christianity composed to Orthodox Christianity. This is going to be a good lesson. Stay tuned, get comfortable, and get your popcorn. We're going to be here for a minute. Let's rock. Rightism, 25 rules to live by. Storytelling, story with a message. There's always a message in my stories for life. I give life lessons. You tune in and receive them. I appreciate you. We got a good thing going. Let's do what we do. Right thinking mission, and I'm on it, is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right thinkers way of life, moving into a spiritual discipline, practice daily, will help and guide you to attain your goal of reaching spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. My mission is that all right thinkers know thyself. If you're a right thinker, your goal is to know thyself. See where we go with this? Let's get there together. So I asked the question, do you know you? You will when I get through. You pay attention. It's rhetorical. But if you have an answer for yourself, tune in. I got you. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard them. Don't be them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple. But you can teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. Appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believe and think that they know is dangerous, avoid them. I do. A person who knows and knows not that they know is spiritually asleep. I can awaken them. I'm the spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. That's what I do for you. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you, right? Thinkers know that self and to Maya be true. We about to get into some gangster stuff, as they call it back in my day. P-Funk's philosophy on the Egyptians' yoga perspective on death and its influence on Gnostic Christianity compared to Orthodox Christianity. I got a few pages of information. I'm about to go through it, and it's going to be fun. Let's go. Enjoy the ride. Egyptian yoga is a philosophy and a discipline that's based on our ancient Commission mystical system, Egyptian mysticism, which promotes spiritual enlightenment, meaning knowledge of spirit. Spirit is God. So spiritual enlightenment is enlightening you to God. Spiritual enlightenment means a movement toward the transcending death. Everybody seemed to think that the Egyptians were occupied with death. No, death was just a transition to the next life. We call it the afterlife. So death wasn't a big thing to us. But for ignorant people, scared them to death. Okay? Enlightenment means death. You don't fear death. Why? You know it's a part of the process. Pay attention. So in this context, death is not regarded as the end all miserable event. Oh, when it's all over, that's okay. But they saw it and understood it to be a transition into a higher form of being if one's earthly life. Here we go. Pay attention. This was important. If your earthly life had been lived in accordance with the teachings of Maya, right there, it says it. In ancient times, our ancient commissions lived by Maya philosophy, and they lasted over 3,000 years living in harmony. So pay attention. Listen, the ancients, Egyptians, were often referred to by people who, their neighbors, whoever came, neighboring countries, anybody in contact with them, encountered them, claimed they were the most spiritual people of all the world. Why is that? Pay attention. Pay attention. They're going to tell you. Break it down right here. Why? Because they seem to constantly affirm, mean living by spiritual principles, spiritual discipline. As a people, that's how they were. And as every aspect of their lives, I practice Maya, meaning equanimity in my thought process and my understanding how to govern my life. I practice that, and it works like a charm. They did it as a people, as a society. And this is not to be considered as no fanatical existence. They wasn't fanatics about death. They didn't give a crap about that. They understood that they lived right here. Death was coming to the physical body, and they got that broken down too. I'll get to it in 1 second. But the way we look at it as cults or obsessed fundamentalists, everybody getting the upper hand on the other one, and you have a bunch of different religious groups that's right there in our time. And they all wrong. The ancient Egyptians had recognized one fact, that there is a higher reality beyond the physical world. They called the astral plane, the duat, the afterlife, but they knew it was, y'all call it heaven. They knew it's something other than this physical world. They had that understood. So, and since all living beings must die someday, that's nature. It regenerates. It dies and reborn. That's the cycle of life. But as human beings, the spirit that's in us won't die. It will regenerate in other physical bodies, but the physical body will expire. They knew that. So it wasn't, how long are we going to live? How many years? Damn, they didn't get past 50. They didn't give a damn how long you live here. This is temporary. Accumulate a bunch of stuff. No, y'all want to live forever. Why? Just to keep feeling that desire, that greed that the ego generates. That's why they got philosophical and they were spiritual. So it wasn't about material stuff. And one day you move on into what? That other reality. Hello, y'all think death is it? No, to the physical body, yeah. But to the conscious and the spirit, not so much. My man Lee Corso, not so fast, my friend. But it makes a lot of sense to seek and gain what understanding so that maybe you can become comfortable with the idea of death in your own time. Hello? And to now revere the supreme divinity which was discovered by you to be the author and sustainer of all creation. If you study, learn, and pay attention. Therefore, death, as we know it, should not be viewed as a pathetic end, an event in life. Why? I'm dying. My best friend, I was there the day he died. That's what he said, I'm dying. Yeah, we all are, eventually. But how you live, the question is, what's going to happen after the death? That ain't got nothing to do with me. That's between you and your maker. All right? I got mine. He had his. You should have yours. But it is an inevitable. Death is inevitable to the physical body. It's an inevitable occurrence for which one should be prepared. You should be prepared. You have 60 years to prepare for death, okay? And it can even look forward to it. I do why? I know when this is over, I'm going home. I ain't coming back to another physical body. Philosophically, and that's my concept, and that's how I practice what I do. For that reason, I know when this is over, oh, bye-bye. Why? I'm going home. I'm going back. I reached it. I found out the deal when I was here. I'm trying to help you do the same thing before you leave. Up to you to practice it. I'm just giving you the information. And watch this. The phrase, soul is to heaven. Body is to earth. Upper, lower. Ego stays here. Haru goes back home to his father. The Christians, y'all Christ, yeah, the only begotten son of Christ. Yeah. But we got the same philosophy. We go back to a Saul. So now the creators of our ancient Egyptian mythology, philosophical points of view, and y'all call it religion, recognized that if people were to live their lives independent of any spiritual acknowledgement, life would lose its focus. And what we're doing now, right now, running around like a bunch of fools, okay? And the human beings will lose their way. Hello? This is ancient information. They knew that back then, and we doing it to this very day, okay? They will get caught up in the pettiness of human ego. Everybody is driven by their ego. Why? We haven't been taught how to conquer it, how to realize it and recognize it. Y'all call the devil an outside entity, or that God is up in heaven, all that nonsense. Sorry. But yeah, we told the truth. I raised my children on the truth as best I knew it. I didn't BS them about life at all. Not in their time. Well, they didn't get to enjoy Christmas. I don't give a damn about Christmas. What about Easter? Don't give a damn. Damn a holiday. Come on, man. Following the crowd never got nobody nowhere. But what? And more nonsense. So live your life. But if we don't have no purpose and reason, we would be petty human beings. And that's all egoism. And all the egoism will lead you to untold sufferings, both in life, on earth, as well as beyond. Why? Because you're going to catch hell in the afterlife. If you didn't get this one right, you're going to torment, as y'all call it, hell. For what? Eternity. That's a long time to catch hell. But the concept, the flip side to that is you go to heaven for eternity. That's a good thing. I'll take my chances going to heaven. Why? Hell, a long time, eternity. Bad, I don't want that. I prefer it good. That's why I changed my life around. The way I was going there, I'm going his way he was going, to hell. While the ego was driving, not my higher self, my real self. So therefore, every life, everyone should know that it's a process of you affirming what? That you are a spiritual enlightened being, and it's a process of promoting self-prosperity and peace. That's the purpose of gaining knowledge of self. That's the purpose of defeating death by what? Recognizing that death ain't the end all be all. Some people scared to death of what? The inevitable. That makes no sense. But if you're ignorant, for more insights into nature, the nature of death, I'm going to give you a little heads up right here. The light in the Per M. Haru philosophy, I'm going to take you to that page. It said go to section of this book. Now, I'm in it right here. It's entitled Readings for the Guidance of what? A Dying Person. They knew they was dying. They wrote this in affirmations knowing, but they trying to show that they lived the righteous life. So they want what they're supposed to get out of life. So they left it written. And to their relatives. And readings for the guidance of the spiritual aspirant. It was teaching you how to defy death, how to conquer death by living right. It says here, the trilateral reading is you see it in the hieroglyphic form. That's the original form. Then you're going to get the writing or what the form means. This means the body, the spirit, okay, breaks down. And then the translation at the bottom. It's called trilateral breakdown. And that's what they do to hopefully get a better understanding. It says the first thing, you see that verb, that's the ba. Then the ah. Then you got the pet. Then you got shat. Then you got ah and ta. What the hell does that mean? Again, those signs, I showed you the sign. Those are what it meant. Now, translate it, put it all together. It says, soul is to heaven, body is to earth. So they knew the difference between the two. From the Per M. Haru of the pyramid text. And from 3,200 BCE to 2,575 BCE. Add 2 more thousand, that's 5,000 years ago. Can you top that, Christians? Can't touch it. Can't touch it. Why? I got 2,000. I give you a benefit of the doubt. 2,500. That's top. But that's nothing. That's a drop in the bucket. And I'm supposed to fall in love with that? No. I got the original. I love that. And it serves a purpose for me. So let me finish up. Sorry about that. But we about to get to you Christians in a minute. Don't worry, this is going to be right. Let me get back to the lesson. But this is the thing I need to understand. Death, they understood it. They wasn't scared of it. They didn't fall in love with death. They understood death in the transition state. But the passage above I just read to you shows that fundamentally there was teaching from our ancient period of ancient Egyptian mystical philosophy never held a hope for any physical resurrection. Here we go, Christians. Pay attention now. I don't want want to rag on you, but I'm trying to enlighten you with information that you need to understand. This is for you. And they knew there was no such thing as a physical resurrection, but this understanding was carried over into the Gnostic Christian. They felt the same thing about the spiritual resurrection, not it being physical. Okay, stay with me. So which developed in ancient Egypt during the Roman period, since they was in control, and they became the source of the controversy between the Gnostic Christians and the Orthodox Christians, black Christians and the white Christians. How about that? Stay with me. So the main difference between the Orthodox Christians and the other religions seem to have been the insistence on this, what they call the physical resurrection from death, when Jesus rose after 3 days in the flesh. Ixnay on the 3-day rising. Why? While other religions proclaim a spiritual transformation from a soul, spiritual coming, some kind that the Orthodox Christians fervently believe and still not know, but believe in this mysterious bodily resurrection, physical from the grave. Ain't happening. We done proved that science, physics is not possible. It's a mythological story. It's a philosophical, esoteric concept. Spiritual. Pay attention. So the Gnostic black gospels of Philip strongly refutes the white Catholic view. And I say white because if you go to any Catholic church, ain't a nigger in the house. And my man John Henry Clark, master teacher, said it best. You would think that over all the years, that all these little pretty little white babies, they wouldn't let one little brown skinned one in. So that's how we showed they was racist again since the beginning. Moving on with this little jokey joke. All right, but information again about them. White, Catholic, they hide behind titles. The white, black was the Gnostics, knowing God. The Catholic was the ones who believed in God, and they sold their whole package like this, their view of a bodily resurrection. And they called these notions, ridiculous and totally misunderstood by who? The Orthodox Christians community. And now the following excerpts from the Gnostic Gospel of Philip, it brings this point home. Watch this. Those who say that the Lord died first, then rose up, are in error, because they philosophically, esoterically, metaphorically misinterpret the concept. For he rose up in consciousness as a human being and then died physically. We are to receive the resurrection while we are alive. You got to know thyself before you die. Why? At Judgment Day, you can't make no changes in what's already happened. You don't rise again. No, it don't work that way. Just saying, and that's what the split. That's what the rift became, the Catholics and the Gnostics. Okay? Gnostics had to go in the ground. Why? Catholics had more power. The Romans, you do what we say. Okay? So, many Egyptologists have suggested that our ancient Egyptians embodied their dead, watch this, with the idea that the dead person would obtain immortality. That's not what it was for. And that the ancient Egyptians also believed, watch this, that the physical body, which was mummified, would raise up again someday. They took it out of context. They took the myth out of context and tried to make it literal. That is the problem with the Catholic view on anything Catholicism. They really misinterpret the metaphor and the esoteric meaning, so they think it's literal. No. But 2,500 years, y'all still riding the same lie. We all know it's not possible physically. But we believe. Okay, what do you know? Moving on. But this idea, I had to get that out the way, sorry. But this idea spurred many of your Hollywood movies to present that same nonsense over and over again, drilling in your damn head so people can't get over the mummy, dragging the by. Okay, and the statements above from the early and late periods of the ancient Egyptian culture clearly, if you pay attention, show that the ancient Egyptians never sought any bodily resurrection or eternal life in the physical body. They understood death is the passageway to the next existence, and just as the physical body needs nourishment, your spiritual body was also provided for by means of the subtle essence of the solid food that was buried with the mummy. It was all symbolical. The Catholic Christian Church, the fathers gradually moved away from the mystical concept and interpretation spiritually of the Christianity, and they formed a religious doctrine based on their misunderstanding of the bodily resurrection from death. And y'all still riding that same concept to this day. Every year y'all practice the same ritual, the same thing. It's not real. It's metaphorical. And and leading to one's existence after death in heaven at the right hand of the Father. In the flesh. Hell, y'all don't even use the Ethiopian Bible. At least they tell you, Enoch can give you a better breakdown for that concept. And if y'all had that, they didn't want y'all here. I forgot. The Catholics didn't want that in the Bible. So y'all ain't even got 22 books of the Bible that y'all follow the King James Version, the Catholicism, the book, the Bible, whatever, King James Version that y'all practice from. Y'all didn't get all the information. But that's what y'all believe. In the Gnostic Christians, the black Christians, the leaders who followed the Ethiopian Bible to this day, still the Christian faith is from the Ethiopians. Leaders disagreed with this point of view, and to this day still disagree, and I'm with them. The same predicament was experienced for the Islamic countries during the years immediately following the death of who? Their leader, Muhammad, also spelled Mohammed or Muhammad with the O or the U. The problem of human existence is the forgetfulness of their divine essence of self when they're born, recycled into this physical world, and the identification because of the ego is with the body as the self. Ignorance through concerns with the body and the needs and the desires, right there. The true self becomes now involved and identified with worldly concerns and only the fulfillment of the worldly egoistic desires of the body, the mind, and the senses. You become a devil. Everything materialistic. And this is the development of the ego. Ding, 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 ding. The devil. Y'all call him now. I know who it is. I understand. But the individual soul has become what? Involved in its own self, the ego. In this identification with the desires of the body, the flesh, that we are fighting with the flesh, but into carnal, that's what it starts with the ego self. It's all about what? Itself, satisfying itself. And what leads your soul to what? Future ignorant actions, aka fetters, in forgetting its true self. It is their pursuit. Now you are in pursuit of what? All desires of the flesh that keeps your mind occupied with what? Worldly things, entanglements as they call it, complexes. We call it fetters, situations that you bring on yourself. And you have worldly thoughts such as what? The fear of disease. And the biggest one, through your ignorance, death of the body. Yeah, I just gave the information. If you're spiritual, these things don't happen. But if you are ignorant, and these are things that runs your life. all you Bible thumpers, all you religious followers, all you belief system followers. This is y'all. And y'all on a pursuit of pleasures and happiness and eradication of things which cause displeasure. If you like this, you're good. If you don't like that, don't do that. That's living on your terms, picking and choosing. That's a la carte. I don't like that. Let that go. But you need that. No, I don't need that. I don't want it. See, because it ain't to your likings. So, Gnostics, Gnosticism, Hinduism, Buddhism, Taoism, and ancient Egyptian religions all emphasize the need to practice detachment, dispassion toward the physical body and the worldly things, material things. These spiritual disciplines will relieve the pressure of your lower desires. Now you're thinking, right? So you know what? No, we ain't doing that. No, we ain't doing that. No, we ain't doing that. And now, which will impel you, the person, to run after the illusions of life if you don't practice these things. Ego will have you chasing. But these traditions hold that only through detachment is it possible to you to claim your mind enough for it to now perceive the transcendental reality of all things. You got to conquer the ego. The ego is God out. Ego got nothing to do with God. That's those people. Okay? All about me. And the constant preoccupation with one's body is insistently reinforced through many years of living with what? Family and others in society. Such body consciousness leads to the conviction that the psychophysical complexes, meaning the mind and the body, is now indeed the self. Scooby-Doo, ruh-roh. Misconception. It is this idea and misconception that is to be dispelled. You got to get out that state of mind through what? Your spiritual discipline, practicing, understanding, and learning, and it become constantly turning toward your higher self, aka the divine self, through what? Various spiritual disciplines that we call yoga or right thinking philosophy. Instead of to what? Your body egoistically aimed and your world illusions of what? Having possession, things, and not having knowledge of self. This process becomes easier to understand through what? Reflection on the fact that your body is composed of physical elements, earth, wind, and fire, air, which are themselves transient, passing phases. The body you have today is not the same as the one you had 9 years ago. Well, I know that for a fact. Okay, as you get older, that fact gets more and more obvious. Since a baby, you're born a little bitty, few pounds. So every cell, not some, not most, every cell in your physical body has been regenerated. Even your bones are different. As surely as people are born, just as surely their body will someday what? Cease to exist, aka die. To be scared of dying makes no sense. If it is wise, is it wise to hold on to something that you will definitely lose at some point in time? All physical things, okay? All your possessions. Impermanence is a given fact of life. Why? Flowers grow, they live and they die. Insects grow, they live and they die. Yet people can't accept these changes for themselves. Why is it that people do not cry when the flowers die, or when the leaf falls from the tree and dies, or for every creature in nature that has died would live? The fact is that it is not only death that causes fear, false evidence appearing real, but attachment and your passion to that which is dead and has met the unknown. You don't know what happens after death. So fear of death, right? You go right there. Fear of not knowing. false evidence appear real. So we got all these ideas. We come up with everything to scare ourselves, right? So fear of death is due to what? No, ignorance of one's true nature. Right there, that says it all. So please understand that fact. Likewise, people hold on to life, no matter how miserable your situation. And my old man decided he didn't want to live no more. And then when he did the thing that put him in that predicament, when he got there, he might not want to be there. Too late, dude. You can't reverse that action. But no matter how miserable a situation they may be in, why? Because they don't know any other way of thinking. Why? They ain't thinking right. They're ignorant or acting. And also because they have the illusion that they was raised with and taught with since early childhood that there is a chance that they may find happiness someday, or they may somehow come into some money. Wealth is a big illusion, okay? Well, if I get rich, if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. Let me take it on home. So now you can read the papers and you can see how wealth destroys a person's peace of mind through what? Through the endless worries associated with what? Acquiring and investing and then protecting what? Your possessions, your money, your valuables. Matthew 9, again, we go with the scripture from the Bible. 23, it says, Then said Jesus to his disciples, Verily I say to you, that it is hard for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of heaven. And again I say to you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. And everybody get the idea of, first of all, a rich man in the eye of a needle. They had a hole in the wall in Egypt. They called the eye of the needle because it was a real thing. And the only thing you can take with you is you. All your possessions, you got to leave right there. So whoever's on this side, he going to have all your stuff. That's the person when you die. The philosophy, the concept is you can accumulate whatever. Yeah, but at the time of death, this time to go with that needle, you ain't take none of that with you. The camel got a better chance of going through. Why? You ain't got nothing anyway. Okay? Then you, why? You got possessions. So y'all hard to relinquish. Why? Those are the desires of what? Stuff, things. Until you're able to release, let it go, you want to regenerate. Okay, so labor, that's the Christian Bible. Let me wrap it up with this one. Labor not after riches. That means I don't do what I do for money. I agree. First, that shouldn't be your ultimate goal. And think thou afterwards will enjoy them. If your intentions is to get money, I sold drugs for that. Didn't work out too well. But he who neglects the present moment throws away all that he had. Why? Because as that arrow passes through the heart, while the warrior knew not that it was coming, but as a warrior, he knew it was there. He didn't know when it was coming, but he knew he ran the risk of having it. So shall his life be taken away before he even knoweth that he had it. To die before you live, meaning find yourself, you be back again. Don't worry, you get a do-over. Okay, that's called reincarnation, and that's an ancient Egyptian proverb, the warrior. And even the greater illusion comes into play, when you try to figure out which part of the body contains the soul. At least you're concerned. There is no body part which contains the soul, or which can be considered to be the soul, the self. No body part can be called. You stuck on a body, that's the ego. The ego don't know nothing else. So yet somehow the conglomerate of thoughts, memories, physical body, and senses is understood to be me. Ignorance. This error, here we go, or misunderstanding in the case of human misery and pain because it involves your soul in the mishaps and the troubles of the mind and body complex and its attending trying for its desires. If the mind and the senses were transcended, these problems, along with your individual identification with your physical body, ego mind, would cease. Hello, the ego will give in. And now your true self would be discovered. The good guy always wins in the end. Why? Because now you discover by the infinite and the eternal. That's where you want the spirit and the mind to be on. This is the self-discovery of the saints and the sages. My pastor used the Christian theory to get what he got. I use philosophical philosophy to get to God. We're both the same, saint and sage. For this reason, they have proclaimed that your soul has been overtaken by ignorance, aka one's ego, of its true self. When you are egoly ran, ego driven, your true self can't shine. And due to this ignorance, it is subject to experience what? The pain of human existence went over and over and over. That's reincarnation. I'm taking it home. You've been sitting for the last 5 minutes. Sorry about that. I feel like a preacher, but I'm taking it in. I'm almost there. Stay with me. A simple philosophical study of the physical body reveals the error in what we call wrong thinking, that the body is the self. We already know that I am not the body. But if the senses fail to perceive, or a limb or an organ cease to operate, your consciousness is still there. This is still functioning. So the awareness of being alive remains even if the perception of the senses or the nervous fail. My mother-in-law is blind. She's living just as good and see just as good as anybody who is sight. You got to understand it. It's all mental and philosophical. But the practice of true spirituality involves you discovering that which transcends your body, again, the senses, as well as learning how to become attached to that which is transcendent reality as the truth, meaning your inner true self, rather than remaining attached to this physical, ignorant body because one's ego and its desires and the impulses, as well as one's emotions throughout the ups and downs of your human experience that you have yet to gain control of. And the world of unenlightened human existence is likened to being out in the middle of the ocean. And when there is raging storm, the desires are the waves thrashing the mind about. A spiritual practice, right thing of philosophy, is you having that boat. It's a boat for you having, which allow you, the person, the right thinker, to weather life's storms of the world with what? With its ever-changing situation, but it gives you the power to move forward in life and face all challenges and not to be disturbed by what? The chaos, the choices, desires of what? An unpredictability of what we call life process of living in the human existence. We're here to learn life lessons. Get your lessons, learn them, and live by them, master them, and end the cycle of what? Reincarnation. That's the name of the game. That's the purpose of us understanding the Egyptian yoga perspective on death. Right thinkers, may you all live to be 100. Me, 100 minus that date. So I'm none of my right thinkers now who understand the Egyptian perspective on death and its influence on the Gnostic Christianity who passed away. Hope you enjoyed the lesson. I enjoy giving it.